The ancient Egyptians called it simply Itaru, the river. We call it the Nile. Every summer, without fail, it flooded. It drowned the fields. It left behind a thin layer of dark, perfect silt. And from that mud, from that gift, Egypt was born. For over 3,000 years, this civilization built temples, wrote laws, worshipped gods, fought wars, and buried its kings beneath mountains of stone. It outlasted every empire of the ancient world. For thousands of years, Egypt was not one country. It was two. Upper Egypt, the narrow river valley stretching south, wore a white crown. Lower Egypt, the fan-shaped delta where the Nile met the sea, wore a red one. They were rivals. They were different worlds. We know this because of a carved stone palette discovered in 1898. On one side, Narmer wears the white crown of the south, striking down an enemy. On the other, he wears the red crown of the north. One man, two crowns. One nation. This moment, this unification, marked the beginning of the first dynasty, the beginning of Pharaonic Egypt, the beginning of 3,000 years of one of history's most extraordinary experiments in civilization. If one image defines ancient Egypt in the modern imagination, it is the pyramid, and no pyramids come close to those built during the Old Kingdom. Around 2560 BC, Pharaoh Khufu ordered the construction of a tomb unlike anything that had ever existed. It would take an estimated 20,000 workers, over 20 years to complete. It would use 2.3 million stone blocks, some weighing as much as 80 tons. But the pyramids were not just tombs. They were a statement, a theological argument carved in limestone. They said, "Our king is not merely a man. He is a god, and gods do not need small houses." The Old Kingdom was a time of order, prosperity, and absolute royal power. But it could not last forever. Around 2181 BC, the central government collapsed, victims of drought, famine, and the rising power of local governors, called nomarchs. Egypt fractured. The first intermediate period had begun. Out of the chaos of the first intermediate period, a new power rose from the south. From the city of Thebes, a pharaoh named Mentuhotep II reunited the country around 2055 BC, and Egypt breathed again. The Middle Kingdom is sometimes called Egypt's classical age. The literature produced in this era was so revered that later Egyptians studied it like Shakespeare. Trade expanded. Art became more realistic, more emotional. The pharaohs did not show themselves as perfect gods. Their statues show worry lines, tired eyes, the weight of leadership. But once again, Egypt's golden age was interrupted. Around 1650 BC, a people called the Hyksos swept into the delta and seized power. For the first time in history, Egypt was ruled by foreigners. The humiliation would not be forgotten. The New Kingdom, a golden age where Egypt rose to unmatched power and eternal glory. From the heroic conquests of Amos to the architectural marvels of the great Queen Hatshepsut, Ramses the Great claimed his place in history, carving his legacy into the very stone of Abu Simbel. Hidden within the silent sands of the valley, ancient tombs guarded their vibrant, sacred secrets until a flicker of gold revealed the treasures of Tutankhamun, captivating the world forever. After the New Kingdom ended around 1070 BC, Egypt never recaptured its former power. It was invaded by Assyrians and conquered by Persians. In 332 BC, a young Macedonian general arrived. He came not to destroy, but to liberate. His name was Alexander the Great. Cleopatra was the last pharaoh. She allied herself with Caesar and Mark Antony, trying to keep Egypt independent against the rising tide of Rome. In 30 BC, she lost. Augustus smudged into Alexandria. Egypt became a Roman province. The age of the pharaohs was over. 3,000 years. 30 dynasties, thousands of gods, millions of lives. What ancient Egypt left behind is almost impossible to comprehend in stone, in art, in language, in ideas about death and eternity and the power of kings. Egypt did not merely exist. It endured. It shaped the ancient world, and, through it, our own. And it began as all great things do, with a river, a flood, and a thin layer of dark, perfect mud.